Hello and welcome into the NFC Championship conversation. This video is going to be a little bit shorter than the Broncos one because I had a lot of frustrations to get out during that Broncos explanation about their frustration and losing to the Patriots. My name is Ryan, this is KindaAskewSports, and let's get into it.
What are you smiling about? Dude, I almost had you.
It's really amazing to say, but it would be a true fact to say that all three matchups between the Seahawks and Rams this season ended up being really close, really amazing games that came down to the wire. And I'd say that the NFC Championship game and their last matchup that went into overtime were two of the best games of the entire season. It really just shows you how high-powered and powerful that NFC West is. If the Cardinals can figure out a way to actually get good, that entire division is completely and totally stacked right now. Out of the final 4 teams in the NFC and the final 8 teams in the entire NFL in the playoffs, 3 of those teams were all NFC West teams: the 49ers, Seahawks, and Rams. In my predictions going into the divisional round, I said that the playoffs are going to run through the NFC West. One of those NFC West teams was going to win it, and I put my hat in the ring for the Seattle Seahawks, and it turns out that I was right as far as that was concerned. Either way, regardless, we're going to have Seahawks versus Patriots in Super Bowl 60, and I'm thinking this might be the game for the Seahawks to be able to get their revenge on the Patriots franchise after they should have handed the ball to Marshawn Lynch at the 1-yard line. This game ended up 31-27 with the Seahawks, in my opinion, controlling pretty much the entirety of the game. The Rams just would not die though, and they kept clawing their way back into the game. Looking at the scoring overview, let me just run you through the differences in score. We had a touchdown by the Seahawks first in the game, then a field goal by the Rams made it 7-3, then a field goal by the Seahawks made it 10-3, then the Rams added another field goal to make it 10-6, then the Rams took the lead on a Matthew Stafford pass to Kyren Williams for 9 yards and a touchdown, which made it 13-10 in the second quarter. But oh boy, those Seahawks would respond within the next minute and a half on a Sam Darnold pass to Smith-Njigba for a 14-yard touchdown to make it 17-13, and that would be the score at halftime. The third quarter scoring started with the Seahawks on a Sam Darnold pass made by Bobo for 17 yards and a touchdown. That made it 24-13, and at that point it looked like Seattle was starting to put a hammer grip on this game. But those Rams did not go away, and within the next 3 minutes essentially, Matthew Stafford with a 2-yard touchdown grab to Davante Adams made it 24-20. With 4:52 left in the third quarter, Sam Darnold passed to Cooper Kupp, the former Ram, for 13 yards and a touchdown, which made it 31-20. Cooper Kupp, by the way, the guy that the Rams advised everybody not to pick up and add when he left their team, and now he helped burn them and beat them in the NFC Championship game. For those of you wondering, karma is very real. Then the would-be comeback attempt with Matthew Stafford completing a 34-yard touchdown grab. This grab by Puka Nacua to make it 31-27 would be the last scoring we would see in the entirety of the game, as there was no scoring in the fourth quarter, and the Seahawks would end up winning the game 31-27. Now the total yardage again was just phenomenal in this game. Both teams were really able to move this football. The Rams won on the total yardage side of things, 479-396. They also had an edge in passing yards, 365-321, and a slight edge in rushing yards, 114-75. Yards per play for the Rams was 8.3, and it was 6.1 for Seattle, so both offenses were pretty much doing whatever they wanted all day long. The only turnover in this entire game came on the Xavier Smith muffed punt. He fumbled 2 punts out of the 3 opportunities he had in this game, and the second one was bobbled, but he still held on to it. Luckily, he fell on the first fumble, but the second one was muffed so badly it gave the Seahawks the ball back, and on the next pass play, Bobo got that touchdown, and that touchdown is the one that made it 24-13 Seattle. That was a critical time in the game. You had just started the second half. You had just gotten a stop, and you had a chance to take the ball down and take the lead. It was a horrible play that led to a 1-play touchdown drive for Seattle, but luckily for Smith, people would a little bit forget about his mistake later in the game, because Woolen, number 27 for the Seattle defense, got a taunting penalty in a very crucial part of the game where it looked like Seattle was going to get the ball back and salt the game away. Suddenly the taunting penalty, which is a stupid, absolutely incredible penalty to get in a game like this, when you know that that's a thing that you shouldn't do. Nick Emanwari even got up in his face, and you know that that's probably something that he's gotten onto him before about, because it seems like Woolen is the Sherman of the group from the old Legion of Boom, and he's got the loud mouth. But it was a crucial penalty at that time for Seattle, but luckily for Smith, the Rams punt returner, this guy ended up being the clown of the Seahawks for this game, because the very next play was a touchdown to Puka Nacua on a 1-play Rams touchdown pass. Pretty much left leveling the playing field once again after the horrible muff punt by Smith. Smith should go take Woolen to the finest steak restaurant and buy him a nice dinner because he totally deserves it after making him not the total focus of bad football that night. What's hilarious about the Woolen situation is right after you taunted the entire Rams bench, you then got torched by Puka Nacua for a touchdown. Yeah, that's right, he was the defender on that play and got beat for a touchdown. Nacua cooked him like a Thanksgiving turkey. I think Nacua had 3 steps on him. Luckily for the Seattle Seahawks though, they would end up holding on to this game because there would have been some fights in the Seattle locker room after that if they had ended up losing all momentum and the Rams ended up winning the game. But give your credit to Seattle's offense for going out there, having a short memory as if nothing had happened, putting their defensive player who made a huge mistake on their back and ended up going and winning this game anyways, as Sam Darnold went 25 of 36 for 346 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, he was sacked 3 times, and he had a rating of 127.8. Kenneth Walker only had 62 yards on the ground, but he was big when they needed him, and he also got a touchdown. Smith and Jigba absolutely went off, 10 receptions for 153 yards, and he proved in this game why he is better than DK Metcalf and why Seattle fans shouldn't miss him at all. Matthew Stafford on the other side also absolutely balled out, 22 of 35 for 374 yards, 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. He was sacked 1 time, and he had a rating of 127.6. Both quarterbacks matching each other step for step and stride for stride in this game. Not Stroud for Stroud though. We all know what happened to CJ Stroud in the playoffs. That was a different story. Horam ended up being the leading rusher for the Rams with 55 yards on the ground on 9 attempts, and Puka Nacua had another massive game. There's something about Puka and being able to torch the Seattle Seahawks that needs to be studied. He had 9 catches for 165 yards and a touchdown, and Devontae Adams had 4 catches for 89 yards and a touchdown. Want to give a shout out to Omar Spates, who had 7 tackles and 4 assisted tackles in this game for the Rams defense. He was all over the place. And on the other side, Ernest Jones IV, who had 6 tackles and 2 assisted tackles, and Devon Witherspoon, who also had 6 tackles. Those guys were big impact guys on their defensive side of the football. One of the big differences in this game that ended up making this 4-point win for Seattle was the 3rd down conversion rate. Seattle went 7 of 13 on 3rd down, which is slightly over 50%, and the Rams only went 1 of 8 on 3rd down. The 3rd down conversion percentage very well might have been the decider of this game. If the Rams are able to convert those 3rd downs, they possibly win this game and are in the Super Bowl right now against the Patriots. Because the Xavier Smith fumble and the Reek Woolen taunting penalty that gave the Rams a free 1st down that led to a touchdown ended up canceling each other out, so they weren't determining factors in my opinion in this game. They would have been had one of those other 2 things not happened. Either way, this NFC Championship game absolutely blew the AFC Championship out of the water. We went from a terrible first game to an absolutely great NFC Championship game, and now it is very likely in my opinion that Seattle is going to win another Super Bowl. I believe that would be their 2nd Super Bowl because they would have had 2 with Russell Wilson, Marshawn Lynch, and all those guys if they had handed the ball off to Marshawn. We and Malcolm Butler all know how that went though. What do you think about the Seattle Seahawks versus Los Angeles Rams game? Let me know down in the comments below. Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? I'll see you very soon in the next video. Until then, all I have left to say is stay askew, subscribe to join the Askew crew, it's totally free, and bye bye.